Hello everyone. NIO stock is down 1.46% today, but there are signs of bullish activity emerging. The stock is trying to stabilize around $10.50 and could make an attempt to bounce back to $11 tomorrow. However, it will depend on Nvidia's earnings after the market closes. What's going on with NIO stock? What requires your attentive focus as we move ahead? I will also be covering the monitoring of the QQQ index and multiple other tickers out there. Break down some very important technicals on them. Furthermore, let's delve into what demands your attention for tomorrow, as an important day looms for the market due to Nvidia's upcoming earnings announcement. Before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, NIO is down 1.46% for the day, a very minor drop, actually hitting the low from yesterday and still forming this bullish divergence, which suggests that there could be a bounce coming. However, I just want to be open-minded with this and then let everyone know that it's going to depend on Nvidia for tomorrow. If Nvidia tries to bounce or not, that's going to dictate this market. And if the opposite happens, there's a potential for us to observe something quite unconventional. However, NIO is demonstrating signs of attempting to stabilize around the 10.5 mark. And there could be like a double bottom-like formation forming for it to try to get another bounce. But here's the thing about this. I can't promise anything about a bounce for the later days, starting on Thursday, because tomorrow after the market closes, we have Nvidia's earnings. If Nvidia ends up doing well, their guidance is very strong. There's a possibility that Nvidia will make an effort to sustain its momentum and keep pushing forward, which could push the market higher for Thursday and beyond. Now for Friday, we also have Jerome Powell giving a speech that could also change everything. But I just want to make that as clear as possible. At the same time with Nvidia, something very big develop. If this thing ends up sinking, if Nvidia crashes after earnings, the market's gonna come down and this could drag NIO down as well. So we have to be open-minded for after what's gonna happen for Thursday, and it's going to be dictated by Wednesday, which is tomorrow after the market closes. So it's gonna be a very big day. We have to be ready for this. Now, to add on to this, we have the PMI report coming out tomorrow morning. There's gonna be nothing too massive except for PMI and also some new home sales data for the first 15 to 30 minutes. So expect some volatility. As far as NIO goes, the news is talking about how photos have emerged of NIO's new mass-market Alps the EV competitor to Toyota and Nvidia. And there talks about this new overall brand that could be very big for NIO. This is designed to take NIO mainstream, positioning itself to actually take on Toyota and Nvidia and other mass-market companies. There's a possibility that this could be very big, and William Lee Bin said during their earnings call they're gonna be entering the mass market with a new brand. He actually said there's possibility this could be it right over here. If that's the case, that's gonna be good for them. If not, I don't know for sure about this. But one thing I do know is that the E6, the second gen, is doing very well. And I'm very excited about this, very excited for the new model. And I think that this is still gonna be big for them anyways. They're going to be using the new End Platform 3.0 technology, which is going to help them continue to grow, use more advanced features, and potentially help them improve their other brands as well. If they do have the Alps brand, if they continue to grow it, that could help them sell 50,000 units per month with one model. So Alps could be what's next for them. Very competitive brand, and it's going to be very cool for them moving forward. But we don't really have the true specs of it out just yet. They could be planning this new EV brand by the second half of 2024. That's going to help them improve their deliveries, and that could be very awesome for them. Therefore, our approach remains that of observing to ascertain if this situation transpires. We don't know for sure if this is it. I'm just trying to tell you guys there's no guarantees, but it could be it. There are talks about this. This would be a very bullish for 2024 for NIO moving forward. To add on to this, the NIO ET5 extends the possibilities. Looks very nice. Very great looking, sleek design, and I can't wait for what the future holds for that as well. From a technical standpoint, NIO got a buy rating from Deutsche Bank just about 12 days ago, and since then, we're not really getting too many of these ratings. The price pairs ratio is still a little bit down as NIO has been underperforming, but it's looking like it's trying to base right here. If it does try to bounce a little bit, that could be a good sign. It's not dropping as hard for the last 2 days. On top of this, we tend to be green about 56% of the time on Wednesdays, so Wednesdays tend to be stronger days for NIO historically. Let's hope we get some decent price action. And finally, despite the short interest going up to about 15.44 million shares shorted just a few days ago, NIO is still trying to base around 10.5. The volume of the day was 43 million, so a little bit less than usual. But remember, NIO is not crashing on high volume. The volume is relatively low. It's only down 1%. Okay, it's evident that the asset is signaling an intent to find a stable position. Additionally, there are signs of bullish activity emerging. Buyers are coming back around this $10 area, and they like 10.5. They like buying it right here. So it's a good sign for the company from a technical standpoint. There's a bullish divergence developing, meaning there could be a bounce coming soon. However, it's going to depend on the market and Nvidia's earnings. My gut tells me for tomorrow NIO make an attempt to get back to about $11, 11.15 or so, and try to fill this imbalance up here around 11.32, and then just trade sideways from there into the 11. But then after that, it all depends on Nvidia's earnings. So I don't know if NIO is going to ultimately get another rug pull to still develop this bullish divergence. The divergence could still be developing, so we don't know if it's going to lead to a true trend reversal. But it is trying to base at 10.5, so something where it tries to bounce a little bit comes right back down depending on Nvidia's earnings. The extent of market volatility on Thursday is likely to be influenced by the events preceding it. But that's what I'm observed for now. If it breaks below 10.5, you will be observing 10.25. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm leaning more in the direction of it trying to bounce based off this bullish divergence. So I think 11.3 could be tested, and then lots of sideways price action. Around 11 is what I'm predicting for tomorrow. For NIO, for SPY, it's a little bit harder to read because there are two interpretations of this. There's a nice inverse and shoulder structure, but at the same time it's not looking that strong. We actually got this big red bar today in my opinion. Observing SPY, it depends on which levels we break. If we break below 437.5, we have the potential to come down to the 435. If we bounce and try to hold around this range, and we break above 439, it's possible that it might climb up towards this imbalance around the 441 area. It could go either way. There is a possibility this is like an inverse head and shoulders, and this thing can always bounce, but always be open-minded, and let's observe the direction in which we break. Do we break below 437.5, or do we try to break above and hold 439? That's going to dictate which way we go, and it's also going to be dictated by Nvidia. For Nvidia, we will be closely observing. Could this thing bounce off this 450 zone? Does it try to get one last push-up approaching its earnings and try to get back to like the 470? Or does this thing end up just continuing to sink and sink all the way down below 450 to retest 446? There are times where it sinks before earnings, I know that, but it all depends on what happens this time around. It's looking a little bit weaker on the 4-hour time frame, but always be open-minded because it's approaching this support right here in my opinion. It looks like it may try to base right here, but we have to observe it with grade approaching its earnings. And then after earnings come out, who knows where it's going to go. If we get this big move to the upside, the market could start pushing for a Thursday. If not, the opposite could happen. So be open-minded nonetheless. Apple is trying to hold up so far, it's actually just chopping around a bit. We'll be observing carefully to ascertain if it can exceed 178. Should it accomplish this goal, it could still be in this inverse head and shoulder structure. If not, if it fails to do so, then we're going to be observing it break below 176. If that breaks, it drop all the way down to the 175 or so, or even lower than that. We're going to just be discuss this very carefully just to be safe. For now, it's looking quite decent. looks more bullish than bearish so far, so that could be a good sign for the markets. We want to discuss Nvidia, follow up with that to help this thing continue to push. So that said, the last one I'm going to talk about before I talk about NIO again is Tesla. If Tesla could break and hold above 235, it could retest 238 and 240 and get its way back up to 240. If it ends up breaking below 230, that's going to be a bearish signal, and it could come down to about 225, then 221. What seems more probable? It's kind of in the middle right now between support and resistance, going back and forth and back and forth. It did come down after hitting 241.5. It looks like it may try to bounce, try to get back to about this 238 plus area. But just to be safe, let's observe which way it holds and which way it goes. Just for confirmation, it's best just discuss this just for safety, as we are kind of savaged between these EMAs. And once we discuss the direction it breaks, and that's going to give us a much better amount of information. So with that said, we're going to be talking about NIO tomorrow. We're going to be, does it start pushing a little bit? Thanks to Nvidia, it might try to push its way back up to 11.3. That's the most probable outcome. And then just to be safe, however, we're going to just discussing how Nvidia affects the market. And then when it comes to Nvidia stock, there's also the possibility of this thing making a big move after the market closes tomorrow. That's going to cause some more volatility. So discuss that very carefully. With that said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more stock predictions and market insights. Remember to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Happy investing and see you in the next video.